So last video I covered what I think are going to be the best decks for the Fusion and Link Festival, and if you own an actual Fusion or Link deck and you're not constrained by budget, go check out that video. But this video is going to cover some cheaper options you can play for this event if you may not own an actual real Fusion and Link deck yourself that you can play or build on a budget for very cheap or like basically no URs. So we're gonna get that started with, obviously we have the loaners are always an option when you don't have a deck for yourself, and I think sometimes loaners are more viable to complete an event with than others. I think right now these loaners are generally okay. You can definitely probably I shouldn't say definitely, but probably most likely you should be able to complete this event and get at least all the gems in this event with these loaners, because this event isn't the most high-powered event. The ban list did do a good number on a lot of decks, so yeah, the power level is overall not the highest we've ever seen from these events. Yeah, sorry. So to go over these loaners, number one we have Dark Magician, and this is literally just Dragoon Turbo, okay? Like we know there's Dark Magician cards here. Nobody gives a shit about the Dark Magician cards, okay? This is the main thing, okay? You access Red Eyes Fusion, or you just make Verte and you make Dragoons, and for some reason they gave you 3 Dragoons. Did they give you a Magicalized Fusion? Is there a way to make more than 1 Dragoon in this deck? Am I missing something here? Seekers of Dark Magic. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your hand, including... Okay, so it is technically possible to make more than 1 Dragoon. It's just, why did they not give you Magicalized Fusion? That's like... Come on, man. It's not like Magicalized Fusion is even like an off-beam... It's even like a random card. It's literally an on-theme fusion versus a spellcaster. Why are you... I mean, what the hell? Okay, whatever. Anyways, like this is... I mean, Dark Magician part is generally very boring and like very flawed, but it is what it is. I mean, you're generally trying to set up. If for some reason you're not able to get to the Dragoon, like I mean, you're trying to set up a way to revive Dark Magician with Dark Magical Circle up. So most likely with Eternal Soul on your opponent's turn, you get Eternal Soul, summon Dark Magician with Dark Magical Circle up. It gets you a banish. You get the banish one of your opponent's cards. It's still not the most consistent, even with 3 copies of everything, because Magical Circle doesn't search a card, it only activates the top 3. You need like 2 card combinations to even search a card. It's kind of a... Like, you compare Dark Magician decks to what Blue Eyes decks are now, it's not even a... It's like not even within the same stratosphere. You might as well just be playing 2 different games if you're comparing Dark Magician to Blue Eyes, so... Whatever. They do give you Ash, do give you Imperm, that's okay. It's 6 hand traps, is a bit low for a deck that's also not very good, but it's a loner, what more can you ask for, right? But yeah, just get 2 bodies on the field, make Verte. If you somehow Luxac into Red Eyes Fusion, that's better. If you can somehow get away, how do you even search Red Eyes Black Dragon though? Like I get that. I guess you can make Dragoon without using Red Eyes. You can just get it with. You can make Dragoon because it's just a dark, it's just a dragon effect monster. You can make it with Dark Magician and Tamias. Dark Magician shouldn't be hard to access. Like that's not the hard part. It's just you either with Tamias, Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon, or the red. If you somehow hard draw the Red Eyes Black Dragon itself, then you can hard make a Dragoon with like a 3-card combo involving like, can you use Eye of Tamias? Yeah, you can use Eye of Tamias too. So like with one of these random fusion spells, one of these 3 you can use to make a Dragoon, hard make a Dragoon, and then you can potentially make 2 Dragoons. Like if you go Tamias or Secrets Dark Magic first, and then you somehow get 2 bodies in the field afterward to go into a Verte to then make a second Dragoon. I don't know how the hell Dark Magician is going to ever get that many bodies on the field at once in 1 turn to be able to make a fusion plus a Verte. I don't think that's going to happen very often, but it's if your opponent can't out the first one, which the best out the Dragoon in this format is not, or the best out the Dragoon is banned in this format, which is Typhon. So actually, some decks may struggle to out a Dragoon. Most decks probably won't, because all you need to out Dragoon is really a monster with over 4k attack. So I know generally knowing that this deck is a loner, people will probably put in at least one card like that in their deck, one card, random card in the extra. Like it could be as simple as just literally just playing Axis Code in your deck means you have an easy out the Dragoon, and you'll probably never lose Dragoon. So like it's not like this card is, even in a limited format, this isn't like the best or anything, especially because you don't have much backing it up, right? This is like simply just Dragoon and it. You don't have anything other part of your end board usually, besides possibly if you're really sacky, you get a Dark Magician's Dark Magical Circle banish with Eternal Soul. That's at the most you can get. Like this deck doesn't put up too much besides Dragoon in terms of disruption. So if they can out the Dragoon, it's trouble for you. But I mean, hey, it'll probably work at least half the time, or like close to half the time. So that's enough to do this to finish this event. Next we have next loner deck is Magical Musket. So unfortunately, Konami was not base enough to give us the Fiendsmith engine with Magical Musket. I was honestly really disappointed because they banned Moon, but these are all Light Fiends. What a perfect opportunity to sell your player base on like an archetype like Magical Musket, that showing that you can do the Fiendsmith line without having to go through the generic extra deck crap, without having to use any two monsters. You only need one monster called the Moon, and it's even better because not only could this go into Fiendsmith, could each Musketeer monster go into Fiendsmith combo by themselves, they also go into they also can go into Magical Musketeer Max beforehand, so you get an extra Light Fiend in the graveyard as well, so you have so much more flexibility. You can make like a Desiree while keeping Lacrima in grave, and for to be able to send like something like a Paradigm here, but like no, they didn't want that. This is just straight up Mass Musket. I will say that this is still probably more competent than the Dark Magician loner, despite not having Dragoon, because the Magical Musket cards are just better than the Dark Magician cards. It's really not even that close, to be honest. The gimmick with all of these with the Magical Musketeers is that you activate a spell and trap card in the column and they get bonus effects. Like for example, Caspar, you activate a spell and trap in this card's column, you add a Magical Musket card, you Starfire, you activate a card in this column, a spell trap in this column, you special summon a level 4 Magical Musket monster from your deck. This deck is actually, unlike Dark Magician, it's actually very, very good at going second. Like this is a deck that can get away with a lower amount of known engine, like Ash and Infinite Impermanence. Because Link into the Reigns is like a ridiculous card. You special summon a monster from hand, and then immediately Link summon a Link monster using it, and your opponent cannot negate the Link summon and cannot activate cards or when a monster is Link summoned this way. So it's like you give your Link monster a branded loss protection. So that's nice. And then you can use that to go in the Musketeer Max, and when this card is Link summoned, you can either add Magical Musket spell traps from your deck with different names from deck to your hand up to the number of monsters your opponent controls, or special summon Magical Musket monsters from your deck up to the number of spell trap your opponent controls. Your opponent cannot respond to this effect because it's on the summon, so you get to essentially search or special summon multiple monsters or search multiple cards at once. And then a lot of these cards have these Magical Musket spell traps have like effects to disrupt your opponent, so you can go like max search at like something like a Last Stand, where when your opponent activates the spell trap, you can negate it, and then you activate this in the same column as a Musketeer monster, and then you get a bonus effect as well. You can search a Desperado, also pop a card as well, and they can't stop you searching these, so that's actually really good for playing the boards as well. Like Max getting a bonus effect when going second based on cards your opponent controls is really strong, and like Link into the Reigns is a powerful board breaker in this deck by itself. And then you have stuff like Ties to the Brethren, which is really funny, but you can special summon basically 2 other Musket monsters from your deck. You cannot for the rest of the turn you cannot special summon monsters, also special summon. So I don't know how this wording works, but theoretically, right, if you can summon a Musketeer monster, right, activate Ties of Brethren in the same column as a Musketeer monster, and then it applies on a new chain, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but Starfire would not work with Ties of the Brethren, right? Because Ties of the Brethren would first trigger, and then on a new Chain Starfire, it wouldn't be able to trigger because then you wouldn't special summon. But you can trigger other musket effects that don't involve special summoning, like acting ties on the in the same column as a musket monster. So yeah, this is also a very powerful card. This is like double almost like a triple E-Telly from the deck. It's you get to summon 2 musket monsters and search essentially get a bonus effect off a musket monster. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Pot of Desires in tier 2. They knew, they gave you all 3 of those and gave you a powerful pot of greed. Yeah, this deck is good. The only thing is, like, if this deck was had Fiendsmith, this would legitimately be like the best budget deck of all time for events. Unfortunately, they didn't go that far, but this is still competent. Despite not having a card as strong as Dragoon, I think this is much better than the Dark Magician loaner. And then next is Metaphors. Now, I am not a Pendulum player, so unfortunately I cannot help you play with it. I cannot help you play this deck because I personally do not know how to play this deck myself. But if you do know how to play Pendulums, this looks pretty fine. Like they even give you Electromite beyond the Pendulum and exceed the Pendulum. They give you an Axe Code. They give you a first of the Dragons, which is this card cannot be destroyed by battle and is unaffected by other monsters. Yeah, this card they give you a Towers too. One Metaphors combination, one Metaphors counter seems kind of low. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you want to run more of these. Otherwise, you don't gain as much advantage. Meta Formation. Okay, what are we doing here? Okay, we don't need to run these field spells. I've never seen Metaphors run the fucking field spell, especially not 2 of them. But you got 2 Astrograph Swords for now as well. So I forgot like that we got 2 on the ban list. We got the Astrograph got unlimited on the ban list. So yeah, we have this is a decent Pendulum deck. It should be fine. You use Metaphor monsters with pop your own Metaphor. Those get another Metaphor to your hand. You fill up your extra deck for a Pendulum summon, and yeah, you get the proper scales. You get the fusion summon into stuff like Nephilium and Alcahest, which I think is a introduction one. You can target one effect monster in the field, equip that. Yeah, so you get a Suck as well. Yeah, this should be competent. Maybe a bit hard to play. Maybe slightly underpowered because you don't seem to have extra deck payoffs. You have Promethean Princess, which is very funny, but like there's no Appaloosa in here. There's like not very. I don't see much of a payoff in the extra deck. It's just like you're just gaining a lot of advantage, and then hopefully surviving a turn and then being able to OTK your opponent on the follow up. But yeah, it's just. I'm sure if you know how to play Metaphors, this is fine. This is probably a fine build. Maybe it has a bit too many Metaphors monsters. If you don't know how to play this, it's probably not worth learning how to play Metaphors just to play this loaner deck. Especially since this is like mainly an N and R rarity deck, as you know, shown in the events. So you could probably build most of this yourself if you have the card pool, and probably build a better build if you're really interested. If you're a Metaphors player, you probably already have a better build than this. But yeah, if for some reason you're interested in playing Metaphors and you don't have the deck built, then this should probably be fine as well. There's no loaner here I see that's like exceedingly terrible. All 3 of these are viable options. It's unlike some other previous events we've had where like there was clearly some loaners that were like, Konami, what the fuck were you smoking? What were you thinking? These are all fine. If you don't want to build a deck, the loaner should suffice. If you do want to, just take a slightly extra step and build your own deck, I have some more budget options for you that shouldn't take many, if at all, any URs. So, here. So obviously, you guys knew this was coming. It's a Link Festival. Obviously, a good budget option it's going to be Marincess. Marincess is one of the best event decks, Master Duel event decks of all time, and one of the best budget options that you could use for any event that's legal in. So yeah, this one is no exception. No exception. And I'm gonna show the deck list a bit differently this time. I'm gonna try something out because generally it's hard pinpointing down a real budget deck list because everyone's personal card pool is probably gonna be a little different. So here I'm gonna first show off like what the actual core of the deck is and like what cards you actually need to play in the deck. So these are just all the Marincess cards that you need to play. The rest of the deck is that I'm not showing is just staples, and it's just whatever staples that you actually own. And people are gonna have different amounts of UR staples, you know, based on, you know, how what they're playing, what their account is, and so on and so forth. So the rest is like up to your own card pool. Like you just run whatever staples, whatever hand traps you own. But this is the actual core of the deck that you actually need to play the deck itself. So yeah, it's 1 to 2 Mandarin. 1 Mandarin is usually enough, but like I just play 2 because if you're you know, playing on this on a budget, you probably are trying to look for more cards to fill out the deck itself. And because we are playing Desires too, since most of the every other monster is at 3, you know, playing the second Mandarin means that you banish it less off Desires as well if you need to. Although generally how you use Desires in this deck is you do your combo first and then you use Desires at the end after you already did all your searching to try and draw into non-engine. But if you need to use Desires to you know, find a starter, that also works. You generally don't need to, and people probably wondering like, what about Cynet mining and cards like that? I know Cynet mining it's not really, it's in a structure deck, so it is another budget option too. If you really need cards to fill out the deck, you can run a Cynet mining, which is funny enough, it's limited. You don't need Cynet mining. This deck has enough starters. Every single one of these monsters is a 1-card combo to end on a link 4 already, and any two different Marincess names can get you almost basically the full board. So like the fact that you already have 17 1-card starters plus a Desires means that you definitely do not need Cynet mining. Cynet mining is just not necessary. And when Cynet mining is not necessary, you don't run it because you don't want to discard a card when you don't have to. So yeah, that's why I'm not. You don't need to play Cynet mining in this deck. So yeah, 2 Mandarin, 3 Seahorse, Extender, 3 NBT, the best normal summon, the starter of the deck. Just dump a Marincess monster and get lucky with excavating. Now that we have stuff like Aqua Angel, we have more Marincess names, so we have more stuff you can excavate off Blue Tank's effect when you link it off. 3 Pascalis, just normal summon, or not normal. When this is summoned at all, you special summon any other Marincess name from hand. Spring Girl is the best extender in this deck because it's the only extender that does not need you to control a Marincess monster. So if your board gets wiped, you can still special this without on an empty board and still extend, unlike any other Marincess name. So yeah, that's why this is the best extender. And then Aqua Angel, perfect information. You link this off, you get to see your opponent's hand, and then you get to play around their hand accordingly. Because I mean that's kind of important in this deck because Marincess doesn't put up as like a lot of disruption. A lot of your I would say most of your disruption comes from your non-engine and your hand traps that you actually draw. So if you know your opponent's hand, you know where to hand trap them and where to use your non-engine. That's helps a lot in a deck that doesn't just put up like 5-6 plus negates on turn 1. Like you actually have to use your interruptions, you know, smartly, which this card makes it much easier to do so. And then you have 1 Marincess dive, because this is very funny that they limited dive and they limited wave. Now limit wave does not matter if you actually own a Marincess deck. It matters if you're playing a budget deck because, well, Coral Triangle, this card right here. If you own this card, wave going to 1 literally does not matter at all. You would only play 1 anyway because it's searchable. If you don't have this, then you can't search wave. Then you might opt to play more copies of wave to hard draw, but you know we can't because it's limited. But it's not that big of a deal. And then 2 Battle Ocean, and then to fill out the rest of the deck, again, there's like 18 flex spots at least in this deck, so like half the deck is just random non-engine and flex and hand traps and whatever you own. So for example, to fill it out, I can run a 3rd copy of Battle Ocean, just so again to risk banishing off Desires, I suppose. Not bad. Battle Ocean is not bad to open, because if you open Battle Ocean, you can, when you link off the Sea Angel just searches Marincess dive, and then with dive, when you have Battle Ocean on the field, becomes an E telly. So yeah. And like for example, like an example deck list, you know, we're looking at budget options. You can run like DD Crow is an SR hand trap. A Veiler is from a bundle, so 1 Veiler is like free. It's like just you get it from the bundle for free. Drone Lockbird is a SR hand trap. Ogre is from a bundle. Ash is from a bundle. Bell's from a bundle. Nibiru is from a bundle. Tactics is from a bundle. Droplet is from a bundle. Imperm is from a bundle, and then it's like if you own Call By, it's great, put it in there. If you own a Crossout, put it in there. If you own Dominus Impulse, this is a water deck, so Dominus Impulse only conflicts with hand traps, doesn't conflict with your main engine. You can play Dominus Impulse as well. You can just fill the decks out with whatever the hell you want. Also, like if you're looking for like a budget, other budget options, something like a Draco Utopian Aura, this card's from the Galaxy Structure deck. So if you have the Galaxy Structure deck, you would have like 3 Draco Utopian Aura, for example. Then this is basically like 3 copies of like Solemn Strike, except on the field. But you know, that's fine. Like the rest of the deck, you just fill it out with whatever options you own. Most of you will have multiple Ashes. Most of you will have multiple Imperms or multiples of other hand drops. So you won't have to dig that deep. Like if you just have 3 Ash, you just put in 3 Ash. It's simple as that. If you have 3 Ember, put in 3 Imperm. Simple as that. If you have multiple droplets, you put in multiple droplets. Like it's very simple. This is the like least UR amount of non-engine that you could play in this deck. But yeah, and then the extra deck, so 2 Blue Slug, 2 Sea Angel, 2 Coral Anemone, 1 Crystal Heart, 1 Slash Mage, 1 Area, 1 Marble Rock, and 1 Great Bubble Reef. That's all you really need in terms of like budget options, and like every Marincess build will run these anyways. If you have other UR options, for example, if you own Coral Triangle, if you own Aqua Argonaut, if you own Zealantis, play them. These are very strong. Zealantis, you know, because you waterlock yourself, you banish your opponent's monsters permanently. That's very good. Aqua Argonaut being a spell trap in the gate, and Coral Triangle searches Marincess Wave, which is like the best card in the deck. But if you don't have these, it's fine. You don't need multiples of these. You can just play like a second Great Bubble Reef and a second Marble Rock as replacements. Just have a second Link 3 and a second Link 4, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, you can make double Great Bubble Reef, because Great Bubble Reef is like a Heat Soul at home, but its draw effect is not a once per turn. So it's not a hard once per turn. So if you have 2 Great Bubble Reefs, you can draw 2 cards during the standby phase. So that's perfectly fine. You don't need Aqua Argonaut, that's spell trap negate. If you just make if you make this instead, that's fine as well. And then like Haga Lizardos, the Malice card also works in here because it's a water, but I mean it doesn't come up really necessarily. Same with Abyss Keeper and Abyss Keeper's removal, because there's no Xyz. You're just playing water link monsters, so it's whatever. But yeah, this is Marincess. Hopefully, if for some reason there's a card I didn't cover that I didn't go over that you're confused on, you know, let me know in the comments. But hopefully I covered all the cards that you need to play this deck yourself. But yeah, that's Marincess, the GOAT event budget deck. So the next budget deck is Ninjas, because this entire core that you see here, again, I'm showing the core minus the staples and hand traps first, because these are the important cards that you need to play the deck, and then the rest, again, is just whatever hand traps and whatever staples you own. All of this stuff is available in a structure deck. All the URs, you don't have to pay, you don't have to craft a single one of the URs. You just gotta go get the structure deck, and that's it. And the only extra deck monsters that the Ninjas have mainly just fusion and link monsters. There is technically fusion, or there's technically Ninja Xyz monsters, but those aren't the important ones. They're like Blade Arm Ninja, which is literally, it's not really necessary for the game plan. It's just a way to like do extra damage if you need it. But the important extra monsters are the fusions and links. So this deck is not really missing anything. This deck, I would say, is like at 99% its normal power level. So yeah, just to go over the core, like again, all of these are available in the structure deck. So at most, you would need to buy 3 of them to get this whole deck. You have Tabari, the Sky Ninja, is level 1. This is basically the main way you're going to be fusion summoning ninjas during your opponent's turn, and we'll go to we'll cover the fusions, what they actually do later in a little bit. But yeah, then we have Mitsu. This is like an this is basically your main extender. It has an effect. It has a conditional, a very conditional monster negate effect that's like can come up with sometimes, but mainly this is an extender to just get more ninja buys in the field, so that you have your material for your fusions and link monsters. You have a green ninja. It's another sort of extender. If a monster is special summoned to your field, you can flip it face down, special summon this. So again, you know, gets more lives on the field, and it doesn't matter if they're face down because you can fusion summon with face down monsters. So it's fine if you if one of the materials isn't face up, unlike with Link monsters. But the main thing is that with this card sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can Book of Moon a monster. So that's cool with when you use, for example, your Tabari to fusion summon on your opponent's turn, you use this as fusion material, you get the fusion, and then you also get the book of one of your opponent's monsters too with a bonus effect. And next we have Baku, which is the popular of this deck. If this card is, you know, add your hand special summon, and then this basically just recycles your ninjutsu spell cards in your graveyard. After you use them, this gets them back, so you get to reuse your ninjutsu spells. So to go along with Baku, you have a Noble Knight Shield Bearer. You could maybe run more with this, I don't know. This isn't in every build, it's just like a random tech card, but this is basically, you can banish this card and then add a level 6 or win Beast Monster from deck to your hand. So basically Baku, if you have Noble Knight Shield Bearer, you can just use it like a bonfire. So like banish it, add Baku to hand, and then that will trigger the Baku to special summon the Baku. So it's a free extender that also, you know, gets resources. You got Hanzo, which Hanzo just searches any ninjutsu art, and if it's special summon, it searches any ninja. So like it's the double rota, well, not double rota. It only searches one thing at a time, but like it can search basically every engine piece in your deck one way or another. You have a Kagero, which is basically it special summons a ninja monster from your graveyard. So again, it helps gets you your materials back, and it can revive itself too. If your opponent like doesn't read your ninja monsters, which they frequently will not, and they target your ninja monsters with effects, then you can this Kagero summons itself back from the graveyard as well. So yeah. And then Daddy Geo, which is like the main deck boss monster of the deck. This is a double Book of Moon. So flips 2 monsters face down, and they cannot be flipped face up. And if you do, you can target 2 face, change them face down position, and if you do any of opponent's monsters are flipped by this effect cannot change their battle position. So it's double Book of Moon that's permanent. It's double Quaking Mirror Force Quick Blade, or whatever the hell. They cannot flip, basically point is they cannot flip their monsters back face up. So yeah, if they're not playing a fusion based deck, they're screwed. This is one flaw with this deck, is that this deck, a lot of this deck's interruptions involve flipping your opponent's monsters face down. So against Link decks, that's devastating. Against fusion decks, that's a lot less devastating. So if you're playing against too many fusion decks, they can still fuse with their face down monsters. Likewise, you can with yours. So it's like not nearly as effective, but you know, this deck isn't like a tier 0 or anything. It's just a solid budget deck. You have reinforcements of the army, bonus points if you have the Sky Striker alt art, but again, the budget, the free reinforcement army is just fine. You have a bunch of searchable ninjutsu arts, like the field spell. You have a armor ninjutsu, which is just like, it's like just a searchable magic planter, just gets rid of the ninjutsu arts to draw 2 cards. You have a ninjutsu art Iron Digger, which is how you go for OTKs, because I'll explain it later when we get to the extra deck. But yeah, you have a ninjutsu art which also like this sends once per turn continuous spells, just send a monster to your graveyard. Bonus points if you send Kagero because it has a grave effect to revive itself, and then you can just send a ninjutsu art. But like, this is the main one, this is the best one. This is the ninjutsu art of Notebook. It's basically, if your opponent controls a card, you can set up to 1 ninja monster and up to 1 ninjutsu art spell, ninjutsu art spell and trap, and then from your deck and from your graveyard. So this gets you 2 of your ninjutsu art and the ninja monsters back. So yeah, this is a really good card, the best card in the deck, and because of this, like, you can run these searchable one of ninjutsu arts if you don't need a ninjutsu art with like a trap cards for your opponent's monsters. But these are like the 2 main ninjutsu art targets. So art of duplication is, it's like a E-Telly from deck. You tribute a monster and you special summon any number of ninja monsters from your deck with attack with like levels equal to or less than the tributed monster. And the cool thing is that, you know, all of these ninja monsters are low levels for the most part. You got level 1s, you got level 2s. So like if you tribute something like a Hanzo, you can get like a Tobari and like Mitsu, you can get multiple off of just 1 normal summon. So that's really cool. And then Ninjas Art of Fancy Leaves. Tribute a face down monster or ninja monster and special summon ninja monster from your deck. Note that the tributing the face down monster does not specify which side of the field it's on. So if you flip your opponent's monsters face down, you get to sack their monster for your Ninja Art of Fancy Leaves, which is another reason why the Book of Moon effects are so cool. And like to fill out the deck, so obviously you can just run staples like these. Again, for example, these are cheap staples. These are all SRs or from the bundle or whatever. It's all of these, yada yada yada. Imperm droplets or whatever. But what I also like to run in this deck is, instead of some of these cards, for example, you could run triple Book of Moon and some Book of Eclipses as well as non-engine, which again, these aren't as fantastic in this format because one, you're either playing against link-based decks or fusion-based decks. If you play against link-based decks, they're not as good going second for obvious reasons, and if you're playing against fusion-based decks, they're not as good as Interruption because booking fusion decks monsters still allows them to, it doesn't stop them from fusing with them still, but the books have synergy with your ninja monsters, and flipping your opponent's monsters face down to sack them with ninjutsu art with Book of Moon also works, pretty nicely. And of note, Nibiru as well. So Nibiru, when you set all your monsters, Nibiru only tributes face-up monsters, so if you can manage to flip and set all of your ninja monsters, your monsters will not get tributed by the Nibiru. But whatever your opponent's monster, whatever monster your opponent has that aren't set face down, will get tributed by Nibiru still, so that's even more better value for you. So yeah, these are just like examples of like the staples you run, but you just run whatever the best staples you have are. So like obviously you probably run multiple Ash because most people have multiple Ash, who doesn't, right? And yeah, so the extra you have a Yagumaru and then Maizen. These are the two main fusion targets. Yagumaru, basically when this card is special summon, you just, or flip face up, you just banish a card. So you banish a ninja art from your hand, graveyard, or face up field, then you just banish a one So yeah, that's like one of your main forms of disruption, and that's why summoning this on your opponent's turn is really cool, because then you it's a quick play banish on your opponent's turn, as long as you're not playing against Malice, which you probably shouldn't be playing against too many Malice this event, given how hit it is. You have a Maizen, which basically it's like the Lancea, the Ice Barrier Lancea of this deck. Your opponent activates a card, you special summon a ninja monster from your deck, face up or face down defensive position. And they can't attack this while you control a face down defensive monster, so it's hard to get rid of. Saizo, it's not a fusion monster, this is mainly for consistency. If you already have a good hand, you don't make this, but if you need to set a ninjutsu art from your deck, for example, if you need like access to one of your ninjutsu arts, the special summon a ninja from deck, you would go in Saizo. You have two shitter ninjas, you use them to go into Saizo to get your engine going. And then the other, honestly, the rest of the extra does not really matter whatsoever. So the OTK with Iron Digger is Maizen makes it so that your ninja monsters can attack directly. What Iron Digger does is Iron Digger equips to a monster, and then when Iron Digger is equipped to a monster, the equipped monster gains 500 attack and is treated as a ninja monster. So if you have a big Link monster, you can equip the Iron Digger to. You can make it attack, theoretically you can make it attack directly. For example, this is why most ninja decks run Boral Sword. Now, Boral Sword I know is has not been a very common Link 4 in like 3 years, but Boral Sword equipped with the Iron Digger means that it gets 3,500 attack, and Boral Sword attacks multiple times, and because of Maizen, it can attack directly. So that's basically just game right there. If not, Axis Code works just fine. Also, Cosmic Tree Irma still, like that. Literally, whatever Link monsters you have besides the ninja monsters are just whatever. You can just run whatever Link monster you have that has the largest attack, and it'll be fine. You can replicate that OTK with Iron Digger. And also, Ultimate Great Insect if you have this. So, finally enough, you can make this using you can special summon this from the action by tributing an insect monster with 2,000 or more defense equipped with an equip card. So Mitsu is an insect monster with 2,000 or more defense. So you can turn Mitsu into an ultimate great insect just randomly if you want to. So yeah, if you own an ultimate great insect, put that in here too. But yeah, that's ninjas. Again, ninjas, All of the core ninja cards you just get from a structure deck, and then fill out the rest of whatever staples you own, and then that's a perfectly playable budget deck for this event. Next budget deck. Also a structure deck. Every UR you see here you can get from the Dragonmaid structure deck. And yeah, it's Dragonmaid, because Dragonmaid is literally just Seals Turbo with a couple fusions. And, you know, it's a Fusion Link Festival, so yeah, perfect for it. Again, this is just the main core with just that you can just get from the structure decks, and then the rest is just whatever staples you own, so on and so forth. So we have 3 of each of Kitchen, Parlor, and Chamber, because this is pure Dragonmaids. So when you're playing pure, you need to actually see a Dragonmaid monster. I know Kitchen's kind of ass. No, I know, trust me, we don't have new support yet, so that doesn't make Kitchen good yet, but you need to see a name, because if you don't see a Dragonmaid monster, then you can't play the game regardless of how bad it is. Like, so even Kitchen, you want to see this. Kitchen works with like 2-card combinations. For example, you open Kitchen plus Hospitality, it's fine. Kitchen even plus Tidying, it's fine. Like, it's better than opening nothing, so it's why we still have this. It's not like you have that many normal summons, even when you play 3 Kitchen, because you only have like 13 Ishtars anyways. But yeah, Parlor dumps a Dragonmaid card, you can dump Tidying. Basically, Chamber, Parlor, and Black Middle are important because these are all 1-card hieratic seals, and seals is important because seals is basically your engine. Like, the people think this is a fusion deck. No, the actual important play, the most important play in Dragonmaid is to make seals. This is more important than Xiao or House Dragonmaid, because this is how you get your engine going. You turn 1 seals, bounce your opponent's card, whatever, summon Nurse from your deck, Nurse, revive your Dragonmaid monster, get a 2nd surge, and then you go to town. And that's how the deck actually wins, by getting to turn 3. And by turn 3, you should actually have a decent amount of card advantage on your opponent. But that's only because of seals. And then, like, making the fusion actually costs you resources, which is why you don't actually want to make these turn 1 unless you have a good hand. But yeah, so Black Metal Dragon obviously is also a 1-card seals, so you know, just make seals pass turn 1. It's an FTK, so I've heard. Then you have like 1 of each of the big dragons. Ernest for your level 7. For Nurse, you have Tenkek and Lorpar for your level 8 dragons. Bonus effects, 1 of these, because Hospitality is a bonus effect, it's a special summons a Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard, but then also dumps another Dragonmaid monster of the same attribute. So if you Hospitality revive Kitchen, you can dump Tenkek, and you Hospitality revive Hospitality revive Parlor, you can dump Lorpar, so you get like an extra card out of it. And then we have like 3 Evaporation Dragon. This is not mandatory, obviously, but in order to make Xiao, you have to have a high-level dragon monster, like level 5 or higher dragon monster. In case you didn't know, the Bestials are banned this event, so you can't play Bestials. So, you know, you do have a shorter supply of actual good high-level level 5 or higher dragon monsters, and Dark End Evaporation is just another way to fusion summon. And the Dark End Evaporation is honestly like it's like low-key the best way to fusion summon, even better than Dragonmaid Changeover, because Evaporation counts itself as like half the material essentially, because you need a level 5 or higher dragon monster. If you have Dark End Evaporation plus any Dragonmaid monster, you can make a shell off of just these 2, because Dark End Evaporation fulfills the level 5 or higher dragon requirement, which is the hardest part of making shell. But yeah, this is nice. This is how opening this lets you make actually seals plus shell turn 1, so you get a bounce plus an Omni Negate plus like 3 forms of follow up for turn 1, which is like pretty good for Dragonmaid in all honesty. And it's just another extender as well. It can also get rid of monsters if you're going for games. So yeah, this is just a good card. Not mandatory, but it's only an SR, so if you want, you can if you have this, or if you don't mind crafting this, it's pretty good for this deck. And yeah, the red eyes to go with the Black Metal. We're not running Laundry Dragonmaid. Laundry ran away from the mansion. She's no longer with the other maids. She's doing her own thing, so we don't have to worry about her. Don't worry about her for now. I promise Laundry is safe and sound elsewhere. But yeah, Pot of Extravagance, because if you're just playing a structure deck, like, you can just max out on these 3 on the extra deck. The extra deck does not really matter too much, besides like or different, besides like exactly 4 different monsters, which you can all run 3 of, so it's fine. Just get extra, why not run pot of 3 if you can? 3 hospitality. The pair is just a monster reborn to pair with the Dragonmaid monsters. A changeover is a searchable fusion spell, and it can recycle itself by bouncing a Dragon monster back to your hand, so you only need 1. And then 3 tiding is like the best card in the deck. It's a bounce plus a monster reborn plus a follow up, so it's interruption on your opponent's turn, and then on your turn it's follow up, so that's nice. And then downtime is not necessary, but I mean if you want to run this, if you run this basically auto wins any back row matchup, because it just bounces back row, it bounces back row every turn, and if not, it still searches you a monster, so it gets, after like a turn or 2 of downtiming your opponent, you like search 2 cards, up to 2 cards, or bounce 2 of your opponent's cards, so that's still pretty decent. Again, this isn't necessary or anything, but it's, if you're just playing this pure structure, it's fine. And then like random staples, again, just what random hand traps, whatever. Bell is really good because Bell, you want to protect your seals from Called by the Grave. If your seals gets Called by the Grave, it's a disaster. So something like Bell is nice. Also, Nibiruing your own seals, it's pretty funny. And yeah, obviously, if you own more of these, it's fine as well. More other staples, it's fine as well. Just run, again, you're just playing whatever staples you have. The main important part of the budget deck is the core of the deck itself, and then the extra deck. So 3 Howls, 3 Shell, 3 Seals. These are all from the structure. All 3 of these URs are from the structure. Don't worry about it. And then you need I run 3 Link 1s because you need to link off your Dragonmaid monster into a Link 1 to revive it with either Hospitality or Tiding, the big turn 1 seals. So you make sure you have enough Link 1s to where you don't banish them all of them from Pot of Extravagance. But it doesn't matter which Link 1s you have, just any of them will work. So you can run Pisty, Striker, or Spirit with Eyes of Blue, whichever one suits your taste. Does not really matter which one you go with. And then the rest of the 3 slots are just level 8. If you run Dark End Evaporation, just run level 8 Fusion Dragons so that you can still summon your Dark End Evaporation. Because you have to banish level 8 or level 8 Dragon Monster from your extra deck to actually special summon this. So these are, House is level 9 and Shallow is level 10. So you have to run level 8s yourself in order to summon this. So that's why these 3 are here. You don't usually make these. Because this is a Dragonmaid deck, you're making Shao 90% of the time with Dark End Evaporation, and you're probably making House the other like 10% of the time. Like you probably don't ever actually make these, but you still want these because you need them to summon your Dark End Evaporation. And obviously, if you have if you have other options to play in this slot, that's you can run them instead, because Portal Furious Dragon is way better than any of these 3 Dark level 8 Fusion Dragons. So, and this just needs 2 Dark Dragons. So literally, if you have a Striker Dragon plus any Dragonmaid monster, or literally Dark End Evaporation plus any Dragonmaid monster makes Portal Furious Dragon, and Portal Furious is really good. And also, it has synergy with your high level Dragon monsters, because basically it has an effect where you can target one, you can banish this card from your light in the dark. Where's the cannot be destroyed by your high level dragon monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects while you control a fusion monster. So if you can have Portal Furious Dragon plus a high level Dragonmaid monster, that means that you can continually use Portal Furious Dragon to pop your big dragon and then pop your opponent's card. And because your Dragonmaid monster cannot be destroyed, you just get a free pop off Portal Furious every turn. So yeah, that's synergy right there. So if you have a Portal Furious Dragon because you're a brand player, feel free to put that. Although if you're a brand player, I don't know why you would play. I don't know why you feel the need to play Fusion Dragon. You would play Budget Dragonmaid in this event over branded. But that's I'm not here to judge you. But yeah, Portal Furious Dragon. If you have it included here, also Light and Darkness Dragon is another summon thing that you can summon off Dark End Evaporation. You can run it instead of one of these 3 level 8 Fusion Dragons. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Fusion Link, Budget Dragonmaid. Just again another deck you can basically just build with 3 structure decks. So finally, we're returning to Cyberse slot. This is a going second Cyberse deck, mainly trying to OTK with Firewall Dragon, Dark Fluid Terahertz, sending a math multiplication, in which case it will give you 11k attack on the Terahertz, and then attacking over any monster with 3k or less attack is game. And you know, it's a Cyberse deck, so climbing into a Link 5 is not the most difficult thing in the world. But yeah, this is a full deck list now because this is a going second deck. The non-engine and the tech cards are more specific than like just any stables that you run, because like we're using specific board breakers since this is a going second deck, and you know, based on what some of the popular decks are going to be, like maybe we expect loners with more dragoon, so we have some cards that uniquely deal with dragoon pretty easily. But there are also upgrades you can put in if you have other more URs as well. Not Lightning Storm though, because they limit Lightning Storm every event because they're afraid of blind second decks for some reason. Don't really know why, but yeah. So I'll explain the card choices. We have like Driver and Gamma because we're blinding second, so Driver plus Gamma is always going to be live. It's always going to be a great hand trap. Don't have to worry about it breaking going first. Thoughtscaper is, you know, the most generic Cyberse monster you've ever seen. It's just free 2 link material, but also it is a card that it is a monster that you can also send off Terahertz. For example, you see we have Book of Eclipse in here. Sometimes we Book of Eclipse our opponent's field and all their monsters are in defense position, so that you don't have an attack position monster to attack over. You can send Thoughtscaper instead of like multiplication if they have some low defense monsters, and then you can go into a Pentastag with a Terahertz, and then Terahertz can attack a number of times equal to the amount of attributes it's have. So on the first turn you make this, it's going to have 2 attacks, so it can attack twice. And if your opponent has 2 defense position monsters, you can just Pentastag, pierce both of them, and go for game that way too after a Book of Eclipse as well. So yeah, it's just a generic card. Also a good discard for you know, if you have to go through Brute Enforcer, it's a free discard. Format Skipper is one of the main normal summons. This, along with Firewall Defender, get you the most Cyberse bodies. So Format Skipper, you normal summon it, and then if you have enough bodies, you can search for Gachiri Agnister, and then Gachiri Agnister can make your Terahertz make your Terahertz unaffected for the rest of the turn, so that it's basically game as soon as you summon the Terahertz out with Gachiri. If you need extenders, you can go Format Skipper. So the idea is you go Format Skipper, reveal, and any Cyberse, it doesn't actually matter. You just link off the Format Skipper into Baylinks, and then Chainlink 1, Format Skipper, Chainlink 2, Baylinks to search Sanctuary. That's another reason we run Sanctuary in here, because one, it chain blocks from Ash. It chain blocks both Format Skipper and Firewall Defender. This is probably the most crucial Ash choke point in the deck, getting either of these 2 Ash, so going into Baylinks to search Sanctuary does wonders in being able to chain block that. And then you add the Parallel Exceed to hand, and then you, with Baylinks, and you have a Sanctuary in hand, you activate the Sanctuary, you relink the Baylinks. That way, you link summon a monster that will trigger the Parallel Exceed that you just searched, and then you can summon Parallel Exceed, and then that's how you get the Parallel Exceed out, and you got 3 bodies then, and then you 3 bodies there, and you can go from there. So it's that's one way to make Format Skipper a 1 card, basically a Link 3, because normally Format Skipper, when you search Parallel Exceed, you need to make yet another Link monster in order to actually trigger the Exceed, so it's not like a 1 card combo, you need another extender. But with Baylinks plus Sanctuary, you can just immediately use the Parallel Exceed that you searched off the Format Skipper for 3 bodies. Next, EMP Mailmine is the choice extender in this deck. Basically, if there's any Link monster on the field or graveyard, you can special summon this, and this is great for going second, because with a Link 2 monster you control sent to the graveyard, you can bounce one of your opponent's cards. So very easy, you just summon this, and then you can link this off of a Link 2 into like any Link 3, and then after you link it off, you can bounce your opponent's cards to, you know, try to break their board a little bit with the EMP Mailmine as well. Gazelle plus Zinni is also like one of the better extenders in deck, because we're running the Baylinks in the extra deck. Basically, you can, with Circle, anytime you have access to Gazelle, you make Baylinks. Baylinks obviously searches the Sanctuary. You relink off the Baylinks with the Sanctuary into a second Baylinks, and then that triggers the Gazelle. Gazelle will dump Spinny, and that's 3 bodies there. That gives you an equivalent amount of bodies as Parallel Exceed does. So yeah, it's an extender that gets you 2 bodies. Also, you don't even need to relink the Baylinks, because you can, if you have any other extender, you can just link off the Baylinks with any other monster into another Cyberse Link monster, like, you know, Splash Mage for example, and then that would also trigger the Gazelle to summon itself, and then that gets you 2 bodies there as well. Like, if you open Format Skipper plus a way to Gazelle, that's literally like that literally gets you 6 Link material with those 2 cards, so you can do whatever the hell you want at that point. Lady Debug is can search both Malmine or Gazelle, and it's also a small world bridge for something in the deck later. Double the Firewall Guardian to summon off the Firewall Defensor. That way, Firewall Defensor is also 3 Cyberse bodies. So you start with either of these 2, you already have basically enough bodies to make Terahertz off of that. So like any extender, you can make Terahertz plus you know, try to break your opponent's board a little bit as well. For that multiplication is for giving Terahertz 11k attack. Double Parallax Seed, the Gachiri, and then like Nibiru, because it's a blind second, and this is free from the bundle, so yeah, it gives you like a highest chance of a hand trap to do something by itself, because we're not really running that many hand traps like that, especially since this is a budget build, and if you don't own all the UR hand traps, then obviously. Also, we have a Hey Trunade as like the spell trap removal. Obviously, if you have Duster or Heavy Storm, you run those as well as the Hey Trunade, but Hey Trunade is just like a, you know, you're not trying to play grinding game, trying to OTK your opponent, so sending them back to your hand is fine. Just don't play into an imperm that you put back in the hand by clearing your board. Like, remember to play around the imperms when you Hey Trunade your opponent. Side mining, which is limited, very funny. So, you know, they didn't want their malice hits to go pointless, so like to be pointless, so they also limited its Signet Mining, which also indirectly hits other Cyberse decks, but whatever. Triple Tactics and Droplet are free from the bundle. These are also outs to Dragoon. Speaking of Dragoon, right, we have like a triple Book of Eclipse, Triple Tactics, Talon, Forbidden Droplet, and then triple Small World. Small World searches Santa Claus, so Santa Claus, Kaijus are banned, but Santa Claus is still legal, and then any Cyberse monster can bridge into Santa Claus. And that's the reason why we run Lady Debug as well, because Lady Debug is a light Cyberse, so that way if you need to have something like a Malmine, you can Malmine, banish, Lady Debug, search Santa Claus that way, and then you just have the Kaiju. And your opponent, if your opponent's playing Dragoon, they have to negate the Small World, otherwise their Dragoon is gone. But yeah, you have between like Santa Claus, Small World, Book of Eclipse, Droplet, Lightning Storm, and Gamma on the Verte, you have like 10 outs to Dragoon. Like, Dragoon is really not that much of an issue at all. Also, like, Dragoon's not an issue because you can Terahertz straight up beats Dragoon. They have to negate you before you even get a chance to Terahertz, because if you get the Terahertz, the Dragoon is already the Dragoon's dead. And they're also probably dead, because you enter battle phase, Terahertz negates all monster effects your opponent has in the battle phase, so the Dragoon can't do shit, and then you just you make an 11k Firewall Dark Terahertz attack over Dragoon for game, especially if they paid for Verte, because Verte they pay 2k, so even if they have a 4k Dragoon, they're still going to lose to get OTK by the Terahertz. So yeah. Also, obviously, Small World can search any other Cyberse monster too if you don't need to search for a Santa Claus. And yeah, obviously, if you have more copies of Tactics and more copies of Droplet, that's even better. That's even more good board breakers to run. Obviously, you can run Imperm as well. And yeah, for the extra deck is just generic Cyberse monster. Honestly, half this extra deck does not really matter. Like, what really matters are just the Link ones, and then Splash Mage, G-Golem Crystal Heart, Transcode, Heat Soul sometimes in Dark Fluid, like Terahertz, and like maybe Update Jammer. But Update Jammer is kind of useless if you make it with Terahertz, because Terahertz can already attack twice. So like the Update Jammer doesn't really do that much, to be honest. But you know, what else are we gonna run, right? We have 15 extra slots. Like, the other half of the extra does not really matter besides that. G-Golem Crystal Heart is actually pretty important, because you can co-link this with Terahertz, and then the G-Golem Crystal Heart will give to Terahertz like a 600 attack boost, and it will also let it attack twice without needing the Update Jammer. And it's important is because Terahertz, normally it gains attacks on monsters, but it doesn't gain attack like if your opponent has a clear board, right? But if you just make it with like G-Golem Crystal Heart, you can do something. You can use Terahertz to attack over one of your opponent's monsters. If they're in defense position, the G-Golem Crystal Heart gives them piercing, and then you can attack again directly, and then that will always be game. So yeah, G-Golem Crystal Heart also can revive Transcode Talker in some lines. And the other cards I'm running are just random shit like Scary Dragon. It's a bounce. Probably will never need to come up. You have Sprute Enforcer, which is like a pseudo destruction. It's a Cyberse monster. It's a very shitty Nightmare Cerberus or Phoenix because they can choose to negate it. But yeah, it's a Cyber, so it doesn't conflict with Transco. Be careful if you summon Santa Claus. You cannot you cannot use Transco Talker's effect because Transco Talker cares about you have to special summon only Cyberse monsters for the turn. But if yeah, just be wary. But usually you don't even need the extra body off Transco Talker to make the Terahertz in the first place because this is Cyberse deck. And then this is just for a meme, but you have a Proxy F Magician's Sad Angry Violent Chimera OTK option. If for some reason you're bored and don't want to do Terahertz, you can instead you go to Proxy F Magician to make Violet Chimera with a Pin Knight early on the field, and then when Violet Chimera is summoned, it gains attack, and then Pin Knight early turns your opponent's attack to 0, and then you just attack them with the Violet Chimera for game, and then the Violet Chimera gains attack. Because your opponent's monster is going to be their current attack's different from the original attack because Pin Knight early made their attack 0. You doubled the battle damage during that battle, and of course because this gains attack and your opponent's monster is at 0, that's going to be game too. So you can OTK through most monsters that way too as well. If you don't want to, I think it takes the same amount of bodies almost to make a Violet Chimera with Proxy F and Pin Knight early as it does to go for the Terahertz OTK, or it might actually require more bodies to go for this than Terahertz. But you know, if you want to be funny, that's an option. It's not like half the extra really matters anyway. But yeah, this is just a quick and dirty blind second Cyberse deck using just SRs primarily to OTK your opponent, and this also bullies the loner decks because like if your opponent thinks they're safe with Dragoon or they go first with Magical Musket, this usually you'll have the advantage against those decks. So yeah. So yeah, hopefully between this video and the last video I made on the best decks for this event, you'll have some idea of what you want to play. Even if it's just a loner, that's perfectly fine. And obviously, let me know any more good budget options that I missed in the comments below. And please go read the comments too, because the comments will definitely cover and mention other decks that I have not, that I'm sure are also just as good. But yeah, hopefully we'll have more fun playing this event than whatever the hell's going on in ranked right now with all the fucking Lanskia Turbo non-games going on. And under 5 videos will be coming soon when that event comes closer, because I know people are struggling to come up with decks to play for this event especially, and same, so we'll figure it out together. But yes, thank you for watching.